So you're going to be a freshman in college. So much opportunity, yet so much unknown. And you're gonna have a random roommate. For the love of God, do not do this. Or this. So I'm gonna make him take out all this garbage because this is pretty much like the stuff that he decided not to take out and a bunch of stuff that he had. But now look at it. Look at that. Because honestly, you're probably gonna end up doing something like this anyway. I guess I need to have a conversation with here. Good God almighty. Wow. Wow. Just because you get stuck with a less than ideal random roommate your freshman year doesn't mean that you have to be a bad roommate in return. What's going on, guys? My name is DJ. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, definitely hit subscribe, join the tribe. I make videos every Thursday and every Sunday about fashion, college, and life advice. And in today's video, I'm giving you a survival guide to your freshman year roommate. As you can probably gather from that intro, I wasn't exactly thrilled with my random roommate during my first year of college. I heard all the stories of people becoming best friends with their freshman year roommate, and I thought, well, I'll just do random. How bad could it be? Well, let me tell you, it gets bad, like bad. But there are a lot of cases where I've seen people become friends and good friends, if not best friends, with their college roommates. So this is just my experience. And no matter how salty I sounded in those videos from freshman year, this experience really helped me grow as a person and lead me to where I am now. And I want to take this experience to help any of you that might be struggling with a random roommate, are nervous about going into college and living with a roommate. And I just want to help you when it comes to living with a roommate in general. While I probably could make a whole masterclass about tips, tricks, and things that you could do or should do with your freshman year college roommate, I was doing some research for this video and I came across a Forbes article titled 10 Tips for Living with a College Roommate. And to make sure that I don't ramble on or get too heated reminiscing, I'm gonna follow along with the 10 tips mentioned in this article and give my 2 cents. I'm only gonna talk about the titles of each tip. I'm not gonna go in depth, but I'll leave the article link below so you can read it in its entirety, but I'm gonna give you my version. So let's get into tip number 1. Tip number 1 is don't expect a BFF on day 1. I think that this is so true because even if you did find somebody that is a friend of yours or that you met online that you think looks like a good match for you, if you cling on to only them, you're limiting yourself from the pool of other people that you just jumped into. I mean, for me, because I wasn't expecting to become best friends with my roommate, I got so involved. I met so many other people. I tried and did so many different things that I probably wouldn't have done if I would have only hung out with my roommate. I think regardless of what your situation is, great, good or terrible, going in with the mindset of not expecting a BFF, being pretty neutral, is probably the best way to go. You want to do everything you can to be a good roommate and just keep it that way. It's nice and simple. When you go in neutral, you set some ground rules and you just try and be as friendly to them as possible. It doesn't mean you have to be their friend or their best friend or even friends at all. But as long as you're cordial and you have some respect for their living space because you share it, you'll be just fine. The next tip is start the conversation ASAP. I think that this is something that you definitely want to do. In my case, I tried to start the conversation and my roommate had no social media, no Facebook, no Instagram, no anything that I could find. I didn't find him anywhere on the internet. And so I was scouring to find this guy, and so I just sent him an email and it took him about a month to reply. When I finally got his response, basically all we talked about was he was going to bring the fridge and I was gonna bring the microwave. That was about it. Yeah, well, at least we tried. At least we started a conversation. And then when we moved in, I was quite overwhelmed. I was there without my parents to move in my freshman year, and he was there with his mom. So that made the experience definitely a little trying for me to have to deal with that and when my parents weren't there. But I made do, and then I kind of just let it be. I didn't really start the conversation. I didn't establish as many ground rules as I wish that I would have. And I didn't talk about a lot of my personal preferences. I thought they would just kind of sort themselves out, and boy was I wrong. As an added tip to this, even if you know the person that you're gonna live with, you should still set ground rules and you should still have a conversation early on, because this could get bad. Living with somebody is totally different than just being friends with them. You could be best friends with this person, you could be best friends with this person and you're really clean. and your best friend, they are messy and you guys don't live well together. Maybe you're best friends, but they sleep at 10 p.m. and you like to go to sleep at 2 a.m. There's so many different things that happen when living together and when sharing a space with another person. So make sure to establish these ground rules ASAP and start that conversation. Tip number 3, I started to mention in the last tip, but is to discuss alarm clocks. Discuss what your sleeping habits are like. Discuss when you like to wake up. Discuss the way that you wake up. Do you sleep with rain noise? Do you sleep with no noise? Do you like to have the windows open, or do you like to have it blacked out? As long as you let them know, they'll probably be cool. That is one thing that my roommate did tell me. He said that he really liked the room blacked out at night, and so he would always close the blinds and everything and make sure that it was blacked out. And for me, I can sleep with whatever, so I wasn't super picky there. He expressed that to me, which is great, but if he didn't, I might have been upset why he always closes the blinds or whatever it is. So that was the one thing that my roommate did off the bat. The one thing. Along with this comes a sub tip that I would give personally, is to get each other's schedules. Have them just send a picture of their schedule to you, and you should do the same to them so they have an idea. If you have 8 a.m. classes, you should probably let them know, because you're gonna have to be getting up early. If you like sleeping in until the afternoon and your class isn't until 2:20 or something like that, you should make that known. And also being able to help the other person out. If you know they have an early class and they're a heavy sleeper, and you wake up at that same time and you see that they are knocked out and they've got 10 minutes to get to class, you know, be a friend and give them a little nudge, or, you know, kind of yell to them. I don't know if that's a little too much, but yeah, just let them know that what time it is, because I definitely slept through and my roommate didn't really wake me up. Didn't really repay the favor for the times that I woke him up, but definitely just try and be as friendly as you can and help your roommate out when it comes to early classes or things that maybe they forgot about. If you have an idea of their schedule, even if it's just a picture that you have on their phone, a screenshot of their schedule, that can help out a lot. Tip number 4 is discuss bathroom habits. In college, it depends on what building you're living in or what the situation is. For me at my university, almost every dorm room, at least as far as I know, has a sink and a little vanity area in the dorm room specifically, and then the bathroom itself with the showers and all that are in a public bathroom down the hall. You might not need to clean the shower or clean the toilet if you do have this situation going on, but you do have a sink and you do have all these other things that you haven't had to deal with before. Maybe your parents clean for you. Maybe you cleaned, but you didn't have to worry about somebody else. There's so many different variables to this that it makes it really difficult when you throw another person's living habits into the mix. So just ask when they like to shower. How many times do they shower a day? That's not too personal. I shower twice a day, every day. Are they very hairy and do they need to shave? Do they shave in the sink and not clean like my roommate did? Do they never clean the mirror or take out the garbage? All these things that are in your bathroom area, make sure that you just address that off the bat, because if you don't, it can get a little messy, literally and figuratively. So take care of that as soon as you can. Also, you want to definitely establish what's yours and what's theirs. A lot of people might just think that, oh, DJ has a lot of shampoo, so since he has a big container of shampoo, he probably wouldn't mind if I use it. No, that's my shampoo, okay? Don't touch it. There's a lot of things like you saw in that first clip of the hair product. I guarantee that day that he used my hair product, and as you guys probably know, you've seen, my hair is a big deal for me. If you're using my product, we got problems. Do what you can to establish what's yours. Put a label on it, put a sticker on it, put something on it to distinguish, and let them know, like, hey, this is the stuff that I use and this is only for me. You're gonna have to be a little bit upfront, but that's okay. It's better to be upfront and be a little rude to not let it fester like I did and then have it be worse later on. Tip number 5 is study habits matter, and that is 100% true. Do they study in the room? Do they study in the library? Do they come back late and study? Do they study early in the morning? Whatever it is for people, make sure that you know when they study, how they study. Do they study with loud music? Do they study in complete silence? You just gotta figure out what that's like for you and your roommate, how you guys can work together to figure out when is best for you to study. When you need the room, maybe they ask for the room at a certain time and you know, okay, from 7 to 9, he always likes to study, so I'm gonna be out of the room and I'll just work in the lobby or go to my friend's room or the library, or vice versa. However that goes, make sure that you can take care of that, because that is the reason that we are here in the first place. And more than anything, this is probably the one that your roommate will understand the most, is your study habits, because that's what they're paying for too. They're paying to go to the school, to do well and succeed. So studying is super important, and just have a conversation about that. It's simple. Okay, tip number 6 is germs and illness. make sure that you are communicating this, because now more than ever, I would hope people have a greater awareness and understanding of public spaces and germs and the spread of germs and all these things. But honestly, you're gonna have people that just don't care, and that might be your roommate. If this is the case, make sure to have that conversation. And this one probably is even more important than the last one about school and your study habits, because if your health and well-being is compromised, your studying is definitely compromised. So do what you can to be very stern about this. And if you have a weaker immune system, let them know. If you're more susceptible to getting sick, or you know that your body reacts a certain way to certain things, just tell them everything off the bat. If you take certain allergy medication or certain medication in general, let them know so that they're just aware and they don't think that there's just pills around or that you're weak or you're getting sick. Be honest with them and just have an open dialogue constantly, and make sure that you are taking care of your well-being, and I mean, being a good neighbor and roommate and taking care of theirs as much as you can too. Tip number 7, this is a good one for me to talk about, is to deal with pesky noises. My roommate did this really weird thing where he would yawn, and it would be like the most obnoxious sound every time without fail. And it kind of became this infamous noise in my dorm. It was a little something like this. Every freaking time. So that was a pesky noise for me, and that was something that was a little weird to talk about. And after months, it took me months to talk to him, probably like 4 or 5 months before I even brought this up. Being like, hey dude, like, you know, when you yawn, do you have to, you know, make the big noise every time? And yeah, it was a weird conversation. A lot of the conversations with somebody that you live with are going to be weird. That's inevitable, but you're gonna grow a lot through this. It's gonna help you with confrontation and talking to other people in challenging situations in general. So look at it in that way and just try and grow from it and reflect on it. But don't be shy, just have the conversation. I know it's gonna suck, it's gonna be weird. You might feel like it's gonna put a strain on your relationship, but do what needs to be done. Like I mentioned, one of the previous tips, if they like to study with music or other things and they're in the room, if they're blasting loud music or they have a ton of people over and there's all these noises or things going on, or they're a big video gamer and is that even a thing? I don't play video games. Video gamer? Just gamer, I guess. And they're just constantly like blasting their games or yelling at their friends and they're online with their friends, whatever that is. If that bothers you, let them know, and you guys can just figure out times when you can kind of take shifts being in the room and just work that out together. Tip number 8, another one that really hits home: address bad smells. My roommate. This one, it's like my roommate had never experienced common courtesy before. You know, when you cook something, maybe pop open a window, especially when you're in like this tiny little box of a room. My freshman year, my room was very small, as you could probably tell in some of the videos. We had both our beds lofted and there wasn't a lot of space. And so if you would cook something stank in the microwave, the whole room would just smell atrocious. And this dude would never care to open the door or window or anything to try and air out the room. I had a bottle of Febreze, he never bothered to use that. All these other things that just seem like common sense that aren't to a lot of people. So address it. If they have stinky clothes and they don't do their laundry, have a conversation about it. If they do this thing with food and they leave things out, or they leave something that gets moldy and it's gross, or your fridge smells bad and they left all kinds of stuff in there, let them know. Have a conversation about it. And if all of this gets so bad to the point where you feel like you can't have a conversation, or you have had a conversation or multiple with them and nothing has changed, talk to your RA, talk to your hall director or whoever is on the staff in your dorm, because if it gets so bad to the point where it is completely compromising your well-being, something can and will be done. But start with having the conversation yourself and then go from there if it gets so bad to the point where they're not making a change despite anything that you've done. Tip number 9 is dealing with hookups and being sexiled. This is also a funny one. My roommate was the last person I would expect to have a girlfriend freshman year. Sure enough, it happened. And sure enough, they were in there all the time. It was weird. And I vividly remember, it was November of my freshman year. One of my friends from home came down and we spent the whole day together, got dinner downtown. It was awesome. And I came home just ready to chill and watch some Netflix and just enjoy a peaceful night by myself. And I opened the door, and thank God that these beds were lofted so I didn't see anything. I opened the door and I said, "What's up?" And I paused for a second because I hear 2 gasps. One was my roommate, and one was a female. So I very quickly closed the door and left. I went to my RA's room and I walked in and I said, hey, I just got sexiled. My roommate had the nerve to stay in there for another hour until he came out and awkwardly walked past my RA's room that I was sitting in, and then comes back like another half an hour later. And okay, I need to stop myself from ranting, but he ended up coming back and we had a very serious conversation, and I was super stern with him about that and just texting me, you know, when things were going on, when he needed the room. And from that point on, we were pretty open about when one of us wanted the room or whatever the case was. But that was definitely something that I wish that I didn't experience. And so I hope that you don't either, but it's college, it's bound to happen. And so make sure that you can just own up, have a conversation. Again, this is your well-being that you're taking care of. Just figure out times that you guys can work it out and talk together. You know, if you're gonna go out and study for 3 hours, let them know. Be like, hey, I'm gonna be gone from 7 to 10, room's all yours there. That's that easy. And there's a lot of things that you can do to kind of schedule when you guys are gonna be in or out of the room, and make that the time that they're gonna do anything or you're gonna do anything, rather than it being in an unknown time and then who knows what happens, because it could be a lot worse than what happened for me, I can guarantee that. And finally, to wrap these tips up, is number 10, nip problems early on. I've mentioned this throughout the video, but don't make the same mistake that I did of thinking the problems are just going to disappear, because people are oblivious, or people just plain and simple don't care. And if that's the case, the problem is never going to resolve itself unless you take action. So it's gonna be awkward, it's gonna suck, but you are much better off nipping the problems early on, having those awkward conversations and just getting it over with, rather than letting them fester to the point where you leave a note in your cabinet or you clean for them. Please, God, don't clean for them, and don't enable them, and don't do all of these things that I experienced because I was desperate and I didn't have these conversations that I should have had. I wish that I would have known these things a little bit more in depth from somebody that has gone through a really rough time. So guys, even if your freshman year roommate is a lot less than ideal, that doesn't mean that your freshman year is a bust and that you can't enjoy where you live. Get to know other people in your dorm, get to know other people in other dorms and other communities on campus. Get really involved. If this happens and you never want to be in your room, this is your chance to get more involved than you've ever been. Get out there. Because you don't want to be in your room, go. Fill your day with all these other things that you can do, because I guarantee if you do that, you will have a way more enriching experience. You'll meet so many other people that will probably become your best friends, and you're gonna get involved in so many things that will change your life for the better, even if that's not what your roommate did. So guys, that wraps it up for me today. If you like this video, definitely smash that like button down below. That really helps me grow a lot. That lets YouTube know that, hey, I really like this video, it's good. So it's as simple as clicking that little like button, and definitely subscribe if you haven't already. Every Thursday, I upload fashion related content, lookbooks, how-tos, all kinds of cool content there. And then every Sunday, I talk about college and life advice. So if you like this video, there's a whole bunch of other videos that I've made about college and that I am going to make all summer long as you are getting ready for college. Or if you're in college, these tips could be just as helpful for you too. Going into a new environment, maybe you're transferring, maybe you still have these problems. I know situations with people who went into their sophomore year with people who they thought were their best friends, and it didn't work out at all, and it was terrible. And I think that maybe they could have used this video too. So I'm just happy to be making this now. Like I said, a lot of other tips and tricks about college and life coming very soon. So every Sunday, stay tuned, and every Thursday, fashion videos for you there. And if you haven't already, definitely follow me on Instagram, because I upload a lot of outfit inspiration and other cool content. I'm super active on Instagram. I'm there every day. Whether it's a story, whether it's a new outfit post, or whatever that is, you can catch me on there. Just at my name, at DJ Biersack right there. You can check that out with the link below. So thank you again for watching this video. I really appreciate it. Appreciate you guys subscribing and being part of the tribe here. It's so awesome to be growing with all of you and just building a family here. So I hope you have an amazing day. My name is DJ. I'll see you real soon. Peace.
This is the shit that I come back to. Drawer open. Sheets not even on the bed. Jeans, hold on. Standing up, just on this chair. Shoes, luggage, old clothes, this shit everywhere. Meanwhile, like, come on, man. What?